I'm Sam, and I was recently diagnosed with bipolar about 3 months ago. I was recommended to the Sutherland Center as a great resource for learning and for knowledge for bipolar, and I'm so glad I did. Yeah, so in the year prior to my diagnosis, I had been doing a lot of things. I was working as a business consultant. I was doing real estate, residential real estate. I had helped my brother start a food business, and I had also been planning a wedding. So I always say that I had about 4 jobs going into this, and the challenge was that having gone through all of that, there's a lot of stress and overwhelm. And when I was hospitalized, one of the things that I learned is that overstress and overstimulus can lead to and can trigger a mood episode. And for me, it did. Going through my diagnosis and then being hospitalized, I came out and with my psychiatrist and my therapist, they each mentioned the Sutherland Center as a great resource for bipolar knowledge, for support, and also for therapy. And so I already had a therapist, but I knew that being part of an outpatient program such as the Sutherland Center would really position me for really good things in my life, as well as good things with my relationships, and making sure that they knew the different components of bipolar, so that we could basically fight this illness together. So one of the really interesting things that the Sutherland Center does is they have not only the seminar series, which is for the public, but they have a group session, which is maybe 8 to 10 people, which they dive deeper into a lot of these topics. But one of the skill sets that I acquired through the Sutherland Center is really the intense, deep knowledge of CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, and looking at all of my challenges from a standpoint of my thoughts, my behaviors, and my emotions or feelings. One of the big things that I'm very particular about these days is my sleep. Sleep is a huge thing for mood stabilization, and so I try to get 8 or 9 hours of sleep. I also mood chart, and that's one of the things that we talk about in the Sutherland Center, is basically trying to get a baseline in terms of your mood, and understanding what things may make it elevated or make it depressed. In this case, marking down each and every night before I go to bed just where my mood is, where my irritability and my anxiety is, if I've had any drinks that day, those things all, and if I've potentially doing exercise, those things all lead to me understanding and really being able to advocate on my behalf in therapist and psychiatrist appointments by showing objective data. I would just say breathe and understand that it's not the end of the world. It's something that you always have to constantly be working on. Obviously, I would encourage you to go to something like the Sutherland Center to get the resources that you need, first and foremost, because knowledge is one of the first steps in having a successful future with this illness. With someone who is on the down and out and not encouraged, or doesn't look like they have a great future with this disease, I think getting around other individuals that have the disease, and understanding that there are success stories, lots of them, and I'm going to be one as well. But if you can identify that there are successful people with bipolar, it really helped me, and I think it will help others. One of the things that I always compare myself to someone else, and I always kind of look to see how I can be more successful or better in my life, and very growth oriented. And so it was a really big hit to me to basically be diagnosed with bipolar and think that potentially I'm not able to reach the same level of success as I was able to before. I don't believe that anymore. I know that there are successful people out there that have bipolar, and I honestly think if, with the right medication and the right knowledge and learning, that I could be just as successful, if not more, because of my diagnosis. I had a talk with my sister, who's diagnosed and been diagnosed since 18, and she's gone through five episodes, 5 hospitalizations, and it seemed recurring. It seemed that she was continually going back and getting put back into the same hard place. And I had a talk with her, and I said, we laughed a little bit and we cried a little bit, and at the end of the day, I said, Emma, I think I can take the baton now. I can go forward, and I can be the voice that you may or may not have wanted to be. And for me, I feel there's an obligation. That there's an obligation for me to step out and try to make a difference in this field. If it's a small one, I'm fine with that. If it's a big one, I'd be more happy. And I think because of the intense stigma that's out there in society, there needs to be more people who are willing to talk. There needs to be more people who are willing to talk about the struggles that they're going through. We have a country that is medicated on things, from ADHD to depression to bipolar and all these things. And I think it's just really important for us to talk. So the hardest part for me so far, and I've only had 3 months of this diagnosis, but what I know and I'm currently going through is today I actually woke up with kind of a blah mood. I'm medicated on certain things, and we're working through the medication right as we speak. But one of the downward spiraling things is looking at your medication, looking at how you feel in this current moment, and then projecting out that that's going to be the case forever. And for me, I just want to be truthfully open with you to say that, like, I'm right now, I don't feel like I'm on my current, the best current medication right now, but it is a constant, it's a constant challenge and a constant thing that you and your doctors need to work around, and be hopeful that there is a good dosage or medications that you feel. So I'm hopeful for myself that I'm going to find a better combination. I think as someone with bipolar, you kind of have to accept that you are bipolar. There's no real way around it. I did not expect at 28 to be diagnosed bipolar. So acceptance is the first hurdle that you have to get over, and then you have to fill in all the space with good support, community, and knowledge. And those last 2 things are where the Sutherland Center came in for me. They fulfilled those last 2 components, the community and the support. the knowledge and the learning. And with all of those tool sets, I feel complete and whole to be able to step forward and live an amazing life. And whether I stop with the group sessions or whatnot, I'll always have these tool sets now in my toolkit to step forward. And I am very optimistic, and I think you should too.